WCW Monday Nitro number 240, also April 24th of the year 2000. And a recap of last week's horrendous show. Out of order, by the way. They show Hogan throwing Kidman into the dumpster, then Hogan calling Bischoff. So we cut backstage. Now, I'm not sure what building this was, but they couldn't find a bigger spot for these two guys to fight.
It was the Blue Cross Arena in Rochester, New York.
Maybe not then.
Pretty sure they could have found a bigger place.
They're fighting essentially in a closet. There's nothing room to do anything. They're just random aluminum poles hanging around. Bam Bam Bigelow just hanging around.
Well, let's talk about the important thing. Sting beats him up, turns his back, and then Vamp hits him from behind with a pipe and lays him out.
Sting's dead.
What an idiot. That's the bigger issue.
Well, there's
a moron.
There's quite a few issues with this. One is that Sting is a moron. Two is that it has now been established Vampiro hit Sting with a pipe and left him for dead.
Yes.
Okay? Everyone just write that one down.
I'd like to think that when Russo got fired, he grabbed a handful of those pipes and took them with him to WCW. Because it was always a thing. There's always a thing on WCW TV. There's pipes that God knows what they're used for, except for to make a loud noise and for people to crash into them.
I guess. I hadn't thought of the idea of Vince Russo pickpocketing them, but now I can.
Steal something on your way, all right?
Terry Funk versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
They announced it later. They're going to show us who Bret Hart hit.
Right.
Like, that was a fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You're not even to show us at the beginning of the show.
No.
What an important thing that must have been.
To stick around for that and get
And by the way, they did show us, and there was zero follow-up.
Yes.
I have no idea what's going on.
No.
I have no idea why Bret Hart hit Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan.
It has nothing to do with anything else on the show.
Hulk never mentioned it.
No.
We didn't see Bret Hart a single fucking time. Mind-blowing. It's like Raw now.
So Funk and Bam Bam had a match that went exactly 2 minutes. In those 2 minutes, the Cat attacks Bam Bam Bigelow. We are told this has something to do with the U.S. title tournament.
They told us that Bigelow took Shat's spot in the U.S. title tournament at Spring Stampede. So it took a full week, but we finally figured out what happened with the U.S. title at the pay-per-view.
This was for the hardcore title.
This is for the hardcore title.
Yeah,
right?
but the problem was the U.S. title tournament. That's why Shat ran in. He's mad at Bigelow for taking a spot.
I see.
So the Cat attacks Bigelow. He leaves. He comes back with his magic red shoes. He does a cartwheel kick, kicks a chair into Bam Bam's face, and Funk wins in exactly 2 minutes.
What was impressive was Funk had a trash can on his head.
Yes, he did.
And he couldn't see, and he's getting hit in the head with the chair while the trash can's on his head.
Classic Terry Funk.
And we are told that the movie Beyond the Mat, which had come out the year earlier, revealed that Funk had suffered, quote, too many concussions.
That's what they said.
Along with numerous other injuries during his career. So he's got this fucking can on his head, and he's spinning in a circle like Terry Funk. And let me repeat, he has a can on his head.
Sure.
Okay. Somehow Bam Bam Bigelow is on his back.
Yep.
And Funk knew exactly where to stand so that when he fell backwards, the can would land in Bigelow's crotch.
Right.
How the fuck did he do that?
We could see out of the bottom of the can and see where his feet are.
This was very impressive.
He's Terry Funk.
He is Terry
He's a
Funk.
very impressive man.
I bet he could wrestle. I bet he could wrestle blindfolded. So having a can on your head, about the same thing.
I would bet he has at some point.
I'm sure he has, actually.
Maybe been a lot of beer involved. But so the announcers start by they're saying Bam Bam Bigelow is a henchman for the New Blood and they want Terry Funk's title. But then they switch gears and say the Cat was attacking Bam Bam on Russo's orders. So the announcers have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. I was beside myself by the end of this. Again, this all happened in 2 minutes. They do, in fact, show Bret Hart hitting Hulk Hogan right in the head with a steel chair when Nitro ended.
Yeah, the guy that retired due to concussions.
Recently.
Swings a chair as hard as he can right on Hogan's head. Yeah. I was like, what is happening with this
Well,
company?
he can't hit him back.
Dude.
Billy Kidman. Remember when Mick Foley called Samoa Joe like the most believable badass in wrestling in TNA once?
Yes.
Okay. Billy Kidman's the least believable badass in wrestling.
This was bad.
He's trying to talk about being more of a man than Hogan could handle. Nick Hogan can handle Billy Kidman, I'm pretty sure. Now, I will say this. Hogan has been giving this man tanning tips. That's for sure. Bischoff, Page, and Jarrett arrive. They see Kidman in the ring.
We're not even going to recap this promo?
I did.
He said, I'm going to try to say this in the toughest tough guy way I can imagine. I can't even do it. He basically says, you tried to run me over with the Hummer because I, Billy Kidman, am more man than you could ever handle.
Right.
You damn near killed me, he said, but I'm here tonight. Hogan, you bring the yellow, I'll supply the red, your blood. And I'm going to finish it at Slamboree, brother. Wow. Wow. Wow.
So much better at that than Billy Kidman
And I was trying to not be tough.
No, you cannot be as uncharismatic as Kidman was.
This was bad.
Bischoff, Page, and Jarrett arrive. They see Kim in the ring. They're as confused as I was.
Can we go over Russo and Norman?
It's coming.
That's next. Kim has papers in her hand. Then Russo meets with Norman.
Okay.
Russo says, I want a match with Terry Funk. Norman said that, right?
Yes.
Norman says, I want a match with Terry Funk. Russo says, I'll make you a deal. You find a partner and you'll face Terry Funk.
Because it's an even playing field. Because
Because
he's a heel.
What?
Well, he's a heel, Vinny. Now, I can't figure out if Norm is a heel.
I have no idea.
I thought Norman was a face, but now it seems like he's a heel because he accepted this offer.
So Jarrett, Kim, and Bischoff come out for a promo. Hollywood star David Arquette is at ringside.
Okay, this is a little thing, but I was so fucking mad. For some reason, I don't know why, they decided we're going to put a lapel mic
Yes.
on
Yeah.
Eric Bischoff.
That was weird.
So he's got a little thing right here, and meanwhile, like everybody else has a real mic. Jarrett's got a real mic in his hand.
Kimberly uses one, yes.
So Jarrett starts cutting his promo. He vows to beat, I wrote Jericho, I don't know whose ass he's facing at the pay-per-view, doesn't matter. He vowed to beat somebody's ass at the pay-per-view. So they go to Bischoff, and he's got a fucking goddamn
Lav mic.
Lapel mic.
lapel mic.
Yes.
Okay? Which is an omnidirectional mic. All you need to know is, whenever Jarrett got close to this omnidirectional mic, you started to get fucking feedback.
Yes.
So Jarrett's trying to stay away from him, but you can't hear a fucking word
Yes.
that Eric is saying.
This is the problem.
So Eric is trying to do this promo. You can't hear him. Jarrett's trying to get close to the mic, but every time he gets closer, it's feedback, so they have to turn the mic down.
Bischoff is pushing Jarrett away as Jarrett is
Yes,
trying to save the day
Jarrett's
with the
trying to
microphone.
push, so finally they give him the mic, but
This was-
he was so close that they had to mute the mics because they were going to have feedback. So then the mics they're dead. I'm like, you fucking morons. Just let him talk into a fucking normal microphone. Jesus Christ. You're not killing the business because someone's holding something up to their fucking face. He doesn't need a goddamn lapel mic. Fuck. Anything else?
This was such a WCW moment. No other company where this has ever happened in, and keep in mind they're owned by a multimedia conglomerate. So Jarrett's exact line, Brian, when he was talking about his match with Paige at the pay-per-view was, I'm going to beat your ass and neglect it, just like you did your lovely wife, Kimberly.
I hope my ass is neglected in all of my future matches.
Absolutely.
Everyone please neglect the ass. So we get the whole mic thing with Jarrett and Bischoff. Then Dallas Page comes out. Now let's recap. Dallas Page's wife turned on him, started hanging out with his boss. They are clearly fucking and letting him know how much they enjoy it. At the same time, this other guy over here, Jarrett, has been hitting him with the guitars left and right and unfairly beat him for the world title. So they have screwed him professionally. They have screwed him personally. He comes out for a polite chat.
Not only that.
A verbal debate.
He comes out for a polite chat, and his wife has left him, and she is fucking Eric Bischoff.
Okay.
And she says, I want a divorce. And he says, well, hold on a second, baby.
Did you see the top she was wearing?
I want to hear more from DDP about why we need to make this work.
What she has to offer at this point.
But then he gets mad about it, and
He goes back and forth. He was passive aggressive. Let's save the marriage. I hate all of you. But I didn't hate you that much because you saw her talking. Yeah, Paige and Kim had a weird, complete lack of chemistry for a couple that was actually married in real life. Like, it wasn't like I believe they were having real life marriage problems. If I didn't know better, I would assume these two people had never actually met before. It was very strange. So somewhere in here, Jarrett breaks the guitar over Paige again.
Well, Paige says, I'll sign these papers when I shove them down Eric's throat. He goes after Eric, Jared hits a guitar shot. And for some reason, actor David Arquette is in the front row.
Yes.
Saving his friend Dallas.
And he sees Jarrett hit Dallas Page with a guitar, and he must act.
He has to save his friend Dallas.
And I don't mean act, I mean he must act.
He must take action.
He must take action. He leaps the barricade.
Mm-hmm.
He hits the ring.
He vaults into the ring.
He vaults into the ring, and he goes after Bischoff, who, by the way, didn't actually hit the man with the guitar.
No.
He was just there.
He was being manhandled at the time.
So he goes after him, and then Canyon runs down to make the save, and Bischoff freaks out, and he screams that he wants a match with Arquette. Bischoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants a match with Arquette.
He's outraged. This geek from Hollywood would embarrass him on his own show.
And Arquette's now a booker and an actor.
Sure.
He says, I will give you a match tonight, but if I win, DDP gets a shot at Jarrett in the cage tonight. Wasn't it Jarrett versus DDP, like, at the pay-per-view?
Yes.
It's imperative that we do it a week early?
I guess so. It's,
Okay.
Dude, it's WCW.
And conveniently, there was a cage set up overhead in the rafters.
Fine foresight and planning by Arquette and Page. Listen, all I know is that I know two things. One, when Arquette tackled Bischoff and started laying in punches, one of the announcers says he has the rear mount on Eric Bischoff. He used the actual correct terminology.
Yes.
Two, David Arquette and Eric Bischoff were awesome.
Well,
These promos were great. One's an actual actor.
they were great promos. Later, they had to have a wrestling match.
That's true.
That was a little different.
We'll get to that. But I enjoyed this segment.
It was a very good segment.
By the end. Not so much until, actually, if I'm being perfectly honest, David Arquette saved the day.
The problem was never David Arquette getting involved in wrestling.
No.
The problem was David Arquette becoming the champion of the world.
That is a problem.
Yes.
Chronic still wants their title shot from Russo. They're trying to manhandle and bully him. Two of them.
Yes.
He completely no-sells their intimidation. Tells them to take a seat and listen.
Yeah. That's what happened.
Jarrett is pissed at Bischoff backstage. Bischoff tells him to chill and to go get Kidman. First of all, okay, two things. We're only 20 minutes into the show.
No.
I feel like we've been talking for 4 hours already. Now, I wrote this down that we were at the 20-minute mark because 20 minutes ago, Sting was hit in the head with a heavy metal pipe
From behind.
and left unconscious and helpless on the floor. Mm-hmm. He's fine now.
Oh, yeah.
He looked so fine here that I would have assumed they taped this before the fight taping.
I will explain more later.
Okay. He's totally fine. He's looking for Vampiro. I guess so he can get hit with a pipe again. Chris Candido and Tammy Sitch versus Prince Iaukea and Paisley. So, as they're coming out, the announcers are sure to promise, listen, fans, we want you at home to know that we will abandon this match and cut backstage to show Sting and Vampiro if they fight.
Oh, very important match we're watching right here. I better not switch to Raw.
Why would you tell the viewers that what's going on doesn't matter and is a waste of time? So, Tammy cuts a promo. She says Paisley has a thing or two to learn from her. Brian, is that true?
All I know is Candido accidentally hit Paisley, that son of a bitch.
He did. So, the question for this match was, can Chris Candido work for four people? The answer is hell no.
Fuck no, are you out of your mind?
Tried.
They had an awful match. Awful cat fight.
Awful comedy.
Sonny fell off the post on the two guys.
Sonny,
thankfully, was not hurt.
They went to Tammy Sitch, who was not a wrestler, and said, we need you to dive off the post.
Yes.
And she knew she was running out of chances in this business, and she had to do it. She looked utterly terrified. Thank God Candido and Prince were both there to catch her. We got a long thong shot on Cammy. And then... Tammy.
All right. All we need to know, everybody, is we saw a lot of Sonny during this match, and it was very bad.
It was.
Let's move on.
I do also point out that when Tammy finally pinned Paisley, Tammy pinned her exactly the way Survivor Jenna did in the horrible match with Sharmell many years later. Apparently, this is Sharmell's idea for a spot.
They were watching their tapes.
They were. They watched this. Sting's backstage looking for Vampiro still.
So Sting comes down to the ring, and Tammy and Candido are still there.
Yeah. Right.
Now, for those of you that, I told everyone to just move on, but they won.
Yeah.
Candido and Tammy won.
Right.
Sting comes down to the ring. He beats the shit out of Candido and makes him look like an absolute geek. This is the second week in a row that they've booked a segment where somebody wins a match and then someone else comes down and beats them up like a geek. Mm-hmm. So Candido's buried, Sonny's buried, Artist buried, Paisley buried.
Yes.
So Sting buries everybody.
To be fair, they were all dead when the announcer said this match doesn't matter.
So Sting then cuts a promo and he says, I want Vamp back out here because it's Monday Nitro, and because it's Vampiro, let's make it a first blood match. Storms to the back. Sting does not give two shits about any of this. It is abundantly clear he does not give a fuck. He has been told what to do. He signed a contract. They're paying him a lot of money, so he's going to go out there and he's going to say the words they want him to say. He's going to do the stuff they want him to do, and he's going to go home to his kids. He doesn't give a shit about any of this. It was abundantly clear watching this.
So Sting challenged Vampiro to a first blood match. Got it. Paige and Canyon give Arquette a pep talk backstage.
He can't find his pants. Apparently he brought extra pants to the building.
You never know. Always bring your gear.
Always bring your gear, even when you're a fan.
Even if you're not actually a wrestler.
Even when you're a fan, bring extra pants when you go to a show.
I've been to some shows, actually. It's not a bad plan.
Hey, I was wrestling Orange Cassidy, and he did the Buddy Wayne.
Had one pair of jeans to
He
wrestle
opened up his gear backpack, and inside was another pair of pants.
That's right.
He put them on. He did a match. He did not even sweat.
That would be actually impressive if he had sweat in that
Went
match.
backstage, took his pants off, and put the other pants back on. You must have a second pair of pants everywhere you go. That's why he put in Paisley's backpack. Second pair of pants.
Let's talk more about this, because I don't want to talk about the next segment. It's very bad.
I'll talk about a second pair of pants. Fucking Flair's wrestling in street clothes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Did he have a second pair of pants?
Apparently not.
Yeah, sure he did. He probably wore a suit to the building.
So it's Team Package versus Chronic with Miss Hancock watching. Flair is in his fucking street clothes. Luger has cut his hair.
Yeah.
He now looks like the narcissist again. Bagwell comes down with a bat. They don't even ring. Actually, they
did ring a bell.
They rang the bell when he came down because they started the match during interference.
I mean,
That's what happened, Vinny. They started the match during interference.
No, you're right. You're right.
So they hit the high times on Ric Flair. They pin him. And there you go. Shane and Bagwell jump in. They help kill Flair. They have no friends. And Chronic turns on Bagwell and Douglas.
Okay. They started the match before Buff came out, because I did rewind, and the bell rang 3 times here.
3 times?
It rang to start the match. 40 seconds later, it rang when Bagwell interfered. And then I assume another match started, because 40 seconds after that, Shane Douglas hit Flair with a bat and Chronic pinned him.
Maybe somebody fell on the bell.
Over and over, ding,
For the
ding, ding, ding,
second
ding.
time. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's a woodpecker in the
I am under the assumption this was actually 2 matches in 80 seconds. So eventually Chronic beat up Douglas and Buff and sent them packing. Yes, they beat up the guys who helped them win. Vampiro's backstage in a shirt that reads Pain in giant letters with a Pepsi logo on it. Odd.
I saw that as well.
Yeah. And he says, Sting, like the spider said to the fly, come into my web. Bischoff tells Kidman to listen to him.
Says, don't make your own match with Hogan. I'll make the match. Kidman rolls his eyes.
Gene interviews Bischoff, Kimberly, Kidman, Tori, and Mike Awesome.
Yeah.
Quite the entourage.
What a crew.
So Bischoff books Kidman and Awesome versus Hogan and a partner of his choosing, and makes himself special referee for the Kidman-Hogan match at Slamboree.
All right, allow me to take over for a while. The next match is Hogan and a partner, if he can find one, against Awesome and Kidman. Eric Bischoff, the heel, says Hogan has burned so many bridges, nobody is going to want to be his partner. Apparently, the heel Eric Bischoff is telling the truth. Hogan comes out, nobody comes out to help him over the course of this entire fucking match. Are you kidding me? You can't cut a promo like that on a guy unless there is someone coming out to help him. So, Hogan gets in there and he beats the shit out of Awesome and Kidman all by himself. So the match starts and he's beating both these guys. And I thought, all right, we're going to go a minute and like Hogan's partner's going to come down. Or it's just going to be like some bullshit finish and we just move on to the next segment. No. Hogan is beating on Awesome. And he's beating on Kidman. He takes off his weight belt. He's whipping Mike Awesome. Mike Awesome, by the way, hardcore Mike Awesome. Every time Hogan swings the belt, he bumps early. Doesn't want to get hit with this leather strap.
Don't blame him.
Hogan destroys them. He beats the shit out of him. Finally, Awesome cuts him off, but then Hogan hits a low blow and goes back to work. He beats the shit out of Kidman. He beats the shit out of Awesome. Finally, they double team him for like 30 seconds. Hogan makes a comeback, and he runs wild again. At this point, I'm going, how the fuck long is this match? It's still going. Hogan hits the big boot. I'm like, okay, here comes the leg drop. Nope. He lifts up Mike Awesome. He slams him. He starts dropping a bunch of elbows. I'm like, has it been 15 fucking minutes? Now they're brawling outside. Kidman waffles Hogan with a chair shot right to the head. Hogan goes down. He gigs. Heels get a table. They powerbomb Hogan through the table. Nash appears backstage. Nash looks on the monitor. Fuck, Hogan's getting beaten up by two guys. I guess I better head out there. It's like he's Orange Cassidy. Guess I should probably get out there sometime this week. He starts walking. Takes him about an hour to get there, by the way, because the match just fucking goes on for 10 more fucking minutes. So, they put Hogan on a table. Kidman goes up top. Kidman is a big splash through Hogan and the table. He rips his shirt off. He hits the leg drop. And finally, Kidman in a 2-on-1 match pins Hulk Hogan. Torrie drops down, gives a bloody Hulk Hogan a kiss for good measure. And then, of course, Nash finally comes out and he destroys both of the heels.
They destroyed
now,
him. But.
Whatever. So, I do mean whatever. Okay? Let's talk about the issue here. I understand that one of the problems with World Championship Wrestling was that nobody got elevated. It was the same guys on top for too long, and there needed to be a change. Okay? Russo's idea was just, well, let's just have everybody randomly beat all the old guys.
Yeah.
We'll have fucking Bryan Adams and Brian Clark pin Ric Flair with the high times. What? And now Kidman is out there. God bless Kidman. He's beaten Hulk Hogan 2 times now. What in the fuck is going on? How did anybody think that this was a good idea? It didn't help Chronic one bit to beat Ric Flair and Lex Luger, because it was a nothing match on a nothing TV show. Nothing. It was nothing. And Kidman's out here. He can't cut a promo. Listen, I'm a small guy. I'm laughing at Kidman. This fucking guy's beating up Hulk Hogan. It's fucking preposterous. Like, maybe if he had the intensity of a Chris Benoit, I could say, you know what? That fucking guy's a tough fucker. And he's young, and he's tough, and he's beating up this old guy. I didn't think that for 1 second in this. It was a big, giant guy letting a little guy do moves on him. And at the end of the day, it didn't get Kidman over.
No.
It hurt Hulk Hogan. Like, the whole point is, you gotta find one guy. You gotta build him up over a period of time, and you have to have a big climactic match with that guy, Goldberg, for example, against Hulk Hogan. Oh, they did that at the fucking Georgia Dome, and it was a goddamn gigantic fucking thing. It wasn't just some random geek on the show pinning Hulk Hogan every week on fucking television. Like, how stupid do you have to be to do this shit? This was so stupid.
Without disagreeing with any of your big picture points, I enjoyed this segment a lot more than you did.
That's part of the point. Like, I was impressed with how fucking Hulk Hogan, he looked good in this match.
Well, I think that's largely because he's working with Mike Awesome.
And then he had to lay down for Kidman in the end.
So I enjoyed the match way more than anything.
What is going on, Rob? Must you excuse yourself? Yes? What's happening over there?
I cannot begin to tell you. I am having my innards are apparently going haywire.
Do not have any problems in this room after what happened with Filthy.
I cannot make any promises. Although I did clean up Filthy, so I can clean this up too.
Okay, if you need to leave the room, put it on the try screen or whatever, and then Go and come back.
It's not that bad.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
You should.
So
Well,
Mike Awesome and Hulk Hogan is a million times better than anything Billy Kidman has done with Hulk Hogan. They're feuding the wrong guy with Hogan here. And now to emphasize your point, Brian, after this match, which I did have fun with, when Billy Kidman hits a splash to the table and drops the big leg, and they count 3, this crowd was into this. This crowd liked Hulk Hogan. They wanted to see Hulk Hogan beat 2 men. And when William Kidman pinned him, this is what they always talk about when they say when Ivan Koloff pinned Bruno. The place goes silent.
yeah, because
The air-
it's totally different, though. It was because Kidman pinned Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
They were like, what?
The air gets sucked out of the building. It just goes complete stone dead. Shocking.
Because Hulk Hogan is the hero.
Yes.
And it turned out that the Joker was right. He has no fucking friends.
That is true.
And he goes out there by himself and he fails.
He sure did.
This was a failure. Like, hey, I don't want to waste time on the show, but let's just think about this. They signed away the ECW heavyweight champion Mike Awesome. Bring this fucking guy in. Have him run roughshod over everybody. Kick everybody's ass from now until summer. They don't have a SummerSlam, but whatever the fucking show you want to do in the summer. Bash at the Beach, whatever. And then finally you build up to that big Mike Awesome Hulk Hogan match, and Hulk Hogan does a job for Mike Awesome. That's what you do when you want to build a new star. Not randomly have a mid-carder pin Hulk Hogan in a fucking TV match. That's stupid.
Hogan came out and he's wearing black pants, black vest, and on the back it said FUNB.
We didn't even talk about that. But yes.
And I was like, what in the world? Fun B? What? FU New Blood.
Yeah.
I like Fun B.
Because Hogan's walking down
Balea.
the aisle, and he turns around, he points, and he goes, NB stands for New Blood. You figure out what FU stands for. And he goes to the ring.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Also, when Mike Awesome powerbombed him through the table, I've never seen a cleaner break on a table. Ever. It was totally pre-cut.
Well, the guy's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
I would hope it wasn't pre-cut. Those
That
things,
was totally pre-cut.
those go too easy. You don't want to go through a pre-cut table.
You cannot
Unless you're
cut a
an
table.
idiot.
You cannot cut a table all the way.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, forget it. Go
Exactly.
Bischoff, Kim, and Jarrett go for a walk. Paige, Kanyon, and Arquette go for a walk. Then we get David Arquette versus Eric Bischoff.
on. Eric did like 3 kicks and was gassed.
Yeah.
My first impression of this was I thought about when Nitro first started 5 years ago now. Man, it was a hard 5 years for Eric Bischoff.
So let me explain to everybody, Craig. The point I'm making about a pre-cut table is the point of a table is to break your fall.
Understood.
So I don't want it pre-cut.
Okay.
If he wants to go through the table, it should not be pre-cut. Otherwise, it's like a knife through hot butter.
It doesn't break you hit harder.
Yeah, you just whoosh right to the mat.
Telling you this is a pre-cut table.
So Arquette does a spear.
That's what Bischoff was doing. It's gassed.
David Arquette does the worm.
Yeah. David Arquette does the worm,
Everything.
which gets the biggest pop on the entire show. He does exactly like Scotty 2 Hottie. Just to let you all know that the wrestling he really likes is on the other channel.
That's true. That's true. Jarrett lays out Paige with the belt. So Arquette, he has Bischoff down. He's looking right at Jarrett as Jarrett climbs in the ring with a guitar. And then Arquette turns his back to Jarrett to get laid out.
Trying to run.
I guess. So Bischoff's holding Arquette. Jarrett swings the guitar. Arquette dodges. Bischoff gets hit with the guitar. Kanyon wipes out Jarrett. Arquette gets the win. The crowd goes wild. Now I realize I just saw Dawn Valentine on WCW Saturday Night, but we've been watching that show for a long time. And listen, I have seen dozens, perhaps hundreds of pro wrestlers in my life worse than David Arquette.
Yeah.
Now, no champions. No world champions at this point.
No, there is nothing, zero, zilch wrong with an actor getting involved and beating an authority figure.
Yes.
Because someone else hit him with a guitar.
Yes.
To set up somebody else getting a championship match.
Yes.
This was all great.
Yes.
There was no problem with any of this.
After the break, Major Guns is interviewing Arquette in the locker room. Arquette managed to look at Major Guns in her bikini, and he has champagne in his hand, and he, perfect timing, manages to simulate ejaculation with a champagne bottle as he's looking at Major Guns. He is a pro, and he and Kanyon and Major Guns are all very happy.
She was interviewing in a bikini.
She's Major Guns.
What are you expecting?
She has nothing else to offer, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Jarrett is mad at Bischoff. Now he has to defend his
That's her
title.
name,
Right.
Major Guns.
Understood.
Scott Steiner comes out for a promo.
Oh my God. Was this for real?
Yeah.
Calls out Booker T's jive ass.
Just what he said.
Then he starts, and then Booker comes out and he tells the women not to put their hands on him because once you go black, you never go back. Medeja slaps him, and then Booker starts beating on him and calling him boy. That's literally what happened in this segment.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. The only thing I can add is that before all that happened, Booker says, yes, they told me to attack you last week. It was business, not personal. Which is something a heel would say. So Steiner and Booker are fighting, and they go to the break. Arquette and Kanyon are prepping with Paige backstage. Russo tells Buff and Kanyon to go fight Chronic. So we get Chronic versus Buff Bagwell and Shane Douglas.
Yes, he tells them to go fight Chronic. They don't want to.
Yeah.
And so tough guy Russo says, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They go to put their clothes
they
on.
were gonna leave. They were gonna go to the bar and have a drink.
Yeah. So after this show, 2 hours of this show, Brian Clark, Brian Adams, Buff Bagwell, and Shane Douglas go out and have a wrestling match before these fans on this show.
Call it what you want, Benny.
It fails. It does not get over. People are chanting boring at it.
Russo's on commentary. He's saying, WCW, we can win.
Yeah, now he's the in the metaphorical sense, the company's champion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got Ric Flair's Rolex around his neck. What? What the fuck is that all about?
I don't know.
He stole it from him 2 weeks ago.
He did?
Yes, he did.
I don't remember any of this.
So
They beat up Flair. He stole the Rolex.
So Buff throws the ref out of the ring. Scott Hudson roars.
Yes.
That's bullshit, Mark.
Yes.
To Mark Madden,
Russo wanted more swearing.
I guess.
Russo's second run is Exhibit A. The WWE going PG-13 ain't going to do a shit's worth of good. None.
So Chronic hits the high times on Douglas, I guess. But then Vince Russo hits the ring. Now, I know this was a rubber bat. I know it was not an actual Louisville Slugger.
Sure.
Mike Trout has never hit anything as hard with a baseball bat as Vince Russo is hitting people with his prop. He's just waylaying guys left and right as hard as he possibly can. Brian Adams goes down. Nick Patrick at one point just waffled and goes down. My God in heaven.
You know, Russo's supposed to be a tough guy. He doesn't
is?
look like a star.
You
He's
don't
out there.
say.
He's out there in his jeans. He's got a T-shirt on with a basketball jersey over the top of it.
The unathletic goof with the bad posture who has to hit guys as hard as he possibly can with the weapon is not a tough guy.
No,
You don't say. And not a star. No, excuse me, not a star.
Not a
He's
star
Not a
either.
star at all. No, Craig, he's not a star. He's the anti-star. Anyway, Buff and Shane win. Tank Abbott comes out for a promo. His big line is that Bill Goldberg's so hard to find, I ought to call him Bill Ghostberg.
Dude, he's out there talking about how he's a real warrior, and he's nervously stumbling through this promo.
Yes.
It's like, God, can you just not have this fucking guy talk? Give him a goddamn manager to talk for him, for crying out loud. Then he beats up the WCW.com crew.
Yeah.
Bob Ryder, Borash, and Bill Banks are all killed.
he killed Borash.
Borash jumps on his back, and everyone's all excited. And at this point, I thought, have I been saying his name wrong for 20 years?
Right.
Because they're saying, look, it's Borash.
Yeah, Borash.
Borash is
Borash is here.
Thank God.
Brash Jeremy Borash. It's his wrestling name.
I suppose so. He was not very brash.
No.
He was beaten.
I guess I was in of WCW.com. I didn't go back and look, but it sounds like the website went down after that.
One would think. Jarrett versus Paige in a cage match.
I looked at the clock.
Yes!
I looked at the clock. There was 16 minutes left in the show, and then I was alerted. We still got the Sting and Vampiro First Blood match after this. I'm
That's
like,
right.
holy crap.
Got to cram a lot in these last 50 minutes, whatever it was. So the cage match begins with a long series of crowd brawling. Eventually they get in the ring and wrestle. Paige hits a cutter. Mike Awesome calmly This is not Kane getting into Hell in a Cell. Mike Awesome just opens the door. It just comes off.
He was trying to pull it off the hinges, but he couldn't get the bottom one, so he like kicks it and it falls in.
So Mike Awesome interferes in the cage match. Now here's what happened. Page hits a cutter and makes a cover. The ref counts 1. The ref counts 2. Awesome grabs the ref's hand and holds it up.
Yes.
And then Canyon hits Awesome. Awesome lets go, and the ref counts 3. That was their planned finish.
That's not even exactly what happened, Vinny.
That's pretty close.
He counts 2, and Awesome stops him, but then actually lets go of his hand because the referee's going like this with 2 hands. And then finally the cutter gets hit, and so the ref just hits 1 time and says, "Ring the bell!"
That's what happened.
what he just said.
Okay, so here's a question. Why couldn't DDP just give him a cutter and pin him?
Brian, no one wants to see wrestling.
Because none of these run-ins had anything to do with fucking anything.
No.
Awesome didn't stop the match.
No!
He was not actually involved in the finish. It didn't lead to anything. He literally got in for the sake of getting in there.
Yes.
And then they just finished the count.
Jarrett looked worse because of this interference. He was pinned for like a 10 count.
Was there something in Russo's contract where he would be fined for a clean finish? Is that what I'm missing here? I mean, there was zero reason to have a run in here.
Yeah.
None. It had nothing to do with anything. They did it just because they did not want to have a clean finish in the main event for the title change.
So yeah, Paige is champ now.
Yeah, you say it like that, but that's what they did. He won the title.
That's my point.
He hit the crowd, and they cut away to commercial, and that was it. It was time for the main event.
Main event of Vampiro versus Sting in a first blood match. Sting throws Vampiro out of the ring 2 or 3 times, and Vampiro stands at the announce desk and makes a mean face, and a lot of fake blood falls out of the sky and drenches Sting. Gallons and gallons and gallons of fake blood. So apparently, when Sting issued this open challenge 2 hours ago, not even an hour ago, Vampiro went to the fake blood store and drug hundreds of pounds of fake blood up to the rafters and suspended above the ring to set this trap. So the new blood runs out. There's Buff and probably Awesome and Douglas. I don't know. Point is, they all beat up Sting. He's covered in fake blood. And the closing image of the show, they take Sting back into the aisle. They hook him back into his harness. They elevate him hanging limp and bloody above the ring. And then remind us, on Sunday, Kemper Arena.
Yes.
You fuckwits.
Do you even remember what happens on that show?
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't Canyon go flying off the cage?
Canyon gets thrown off the cage, this enormous bump off the top of the cage, all the way down to the ramp. They sell like he's dead.
Yeah.
In Kemper fucking Arena. This was a cool visual. I was, when I saw the wrestlers hook this fucking guy up to the carabiner, I was fixing to, like, just quit my job.
Yeah, especially the day after Easter.
But they only lifted him up about
10 feet.
10 feet, maybe. I thought they were going to pull him all the way back up to the ceiling after Buff Bagwell clasped him in there.
Yes.
Thankfully, they did not do that. Yeah, that's it. The bloodbath is now... We're going to see this bloodbath in like 50 shows. They found something cool. Drop shit from the ceiling.
Well, they already did it on WWF, so why not?
Hey, there you go. The best part, there's one thing I got to mention. Involves Bagwell.
Yes.
So all this shit comes down from the ceiling and covers Sting, and he has felt like he's practically dead. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which actually, if you watch it hit him,
yeah,
it hit him
knocked
hard.
him over.
It may not have been selling.
So all the heels come into the ring, and they're trying to drag him out of the ring so they can strap him to the thing. Okay. Sting sees this pretty boy Buff.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm taking this motherfucker down.
In his street clothes.
Yep. And he goes after Buff, and Buff is fighting. And Sting does like a legit ankle pick, and he squeezes both of his ankles together, and he finally takes him down in all this blood, and Bagwell's covered in blood.
pretty blue
You gotta
shirt.
watch Bagwell's face when he gets up. He's so fucking irritated.
Not happy.
They got taken down in this blood. I howled! That was the best thing on the show. Let's do this finishes report.
Oh, right.
This should be
I
good.
actually closed my damn nose like an idiot.
Oops.
We'll open him back up.
I'll open him back up. Why did I do that? The finishes on this show were pin after botched interference in a hardcore match, clean pin in an intergender tag match, DQ due to run-in in 40 seconds, pin after interference in 40 seconds, pin in what was apparently a no DQ handicap match, pin countered by crooked official after multiple belt shots, and pinned despite interference in a cage match.
Boom. Well, there you go, everybody. We survived.
I suppose no finish the main event. I should add that part. Sure.
Yeah. Blood. Man drenched in blood.
That's right, one word. Blood.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, that's it, everybody. We're going to wrap it up. Thank God we're done. I don't have to watch another one of these for a week. That was really hard.
It was no fun.
I need to never go on vacation again. All right, we're going to wrap it up. There's all sorts of stuff coming up. Make sure you check it out. Front page, lots of stories. And hey, fuck it, that's it. We're out of here. Talk to you in after a while.
Good night.
Bye.